All right, now we'll bow. Okay, wow, nice to see you all. My name is Cynthia, and I'm the Deputy Minister of the Pillar of Government, who's been arranging these calls. And it's really a treat to see you all. Sharon is our only phone person right now, but there are 20 people on the call right now. So what's been happening is people will join us a little bit late, possibly. So what we've done in the last two calls, if you watched them, is we did check-ins. And what's happened in the last two calls is that those check-ins took about an hour, and we only have an hour and a half. So we didn't really get to much discussion after the check-ins. So I thought we could just do a very, very, very brief check-in. And you could say your name and your post at your center, whatever your center, and your post at that center. And I was thinking about this today. How about 5 words about how you're doing? Just 5 words. And then we'll then go into our discussion about what is the function of a Shambhala center. So, and I just really want to have time for that. So we'll start with, and I'll call you, and I'll do it according to who's lined up on my Zoom here. So we'll start with G, and then we'll go to John David.
Good morning or good evening. My name is G. Van Gils, and I am Center Director for the St. Petersburg, Florida Meditation Center, where we're experiencing some chilly weather of 70 degrees Fahrenheit. 5 words. Here they are. Doing well in the bardo. Thank you.
So I'm John Smith, and I'm in Portland, and I think probably I'm next. And Cynthia, you're muted, so you didn't call on me, but I'll jump in. I'm co-director in Portland, and I'm feeling well and doing tech support for an important social gathering.
Thanks, John David. I said 2 names at the same time, so we would go from one to the next.
Oh.
So I'm going to just do that. That way it saves a couple of seconds in there too. So we'll go from now Tim and Sally, and then Joan Carney.
Hi, it's Tim Albert here. We're in Nelson, or near Nelson in the Kootenays, and I'm a council member and MI coordinator, and doing okay. It's getting better slowly. There's some hope and promise on the horizon. Over to you.
Okay, I'm Sally Albert, and I also I'm part of the Nelson Shambhala Center, and my job has been P&E, kind of along with another person running that area, and that's changed, so it's interesting, but I agree with Tim. Things are happening, and that feels good. Nice energy. Thank you.
I'm Joan Carney. I am from the main Shambhala Center in Brunswick/Portland, and I am doing well, and I'm optimistic with regards to the emerging future. Thank you.
Great. Now Karen Monahan, and then Greet.
Good morning, everyone. I am a member of the state of Maine, Portland, Brunswick, Shambhala Center. So Joan and I are in the same Sangha. I share the practice and education seat with two other people. And I am questioning everything, happy to be here now.
Yes, hello and good evening or good morning to everybody. My name is Grit Tonowski. I live in Vienna, that's Europe. And my role has been for half a year being the regional coordinator for a region we call Gesa Tong. That's Hungary, Czech Republic, and Austria. And before that, I've been for 6 years the center director in Vienna. And I would like to join Mr. G in Bardo. Thank you. Or others.
Great. Thank you. And Carol, and then Craig Sargent.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? I'm new at Zoom. Okay. I'm Carol Mitchell, and I'm joining you from the St. John's Shambhala group in St. John's, Newfoundland. I'm the newly minted group coordinator, and my 5 words are, I wrote them down, energetic, hopeful, connected, impatient, and grateful.
Good morning. My name is Craig Sargent. Can you hear me? I don't hear myself. Okay. My name is Craig Sargent. I'm the center director in Lexington, Kentucky. I'll just go to the 5 or 6 words. Manifesting all things for all people in the realm of absolute reality.
Great. Excellent. Thank you. Claudia, and then Mark Douglas.
Hello, can you hear me? So I'm Claudia. It's the first time I joined these calls. I come from the transitional committee directing the Madrid Shambhala Center with other 4 people since March. And today I'm feeling a bit sick. I have a strong cold. And I'm also feeling nervous and excited because it's the election day in Spain. So let's see what happens tonight. Thank you. I'm happy to be here with all of you.
Mark Douglas in Portland, Oregon. I am the representative for societal health and well-being in our Shambhala Center. 5 words, it's morning and I'm caffeinated.
Great. Thank you. Janie, and then Keith.
Hi, I'm Janie. I'm also from Portland, and I'm the center co-director with John. And it's morning and I'm not caffeinated yet, and I'm very tired.
Good morning. This is Keith Ela from Fort Collins, Colorado. I'm interim co-director, DASOM facilities director, tech. Like all of you, I'm sure, sharing many duties. 5 words. Hopeful, envisioning full shrine rooms, uplifted. Thank you.
Thank you. Akeem, and then Denver, Shambhala. I think that's Amy.
Hi, everybody. My name is Achim Schlage from Hamburg, Germany. I'm the one of the Shastris in our center, but that's the reason why I'm here. Is we don't really have we don't have a council for a long time now, 6 years or so, which usually work fine. So I'm also working in one of those groups in the administration we have. I don't know, 5 words. Definitely Bardo, and watching my center go down.
Good morning. My name is Amy Torino, and I am one of the co-interim directors at the Denver Shambhala Center. And my 5 words are robust Sunday morning offerings. So there's a lot going on outside the office right now.
Great, thank you. John Cohen and Vicki Moyle and friends with them. So we'll start with John and friend, and then Vicki and friend.
I'm Susan, and I am from Victoria, former practice and education director, currently membership director or coordinator. And my 5 words would be tender-heartedly impatient in the Bardo.
I'm John Cowan, Societal Health and Wellbeing, and I will, for a brief period, be the interim center director in the start of the new year, as we're doing a 3-person rotation over the next year. And my 3 words that I wrote down were interesting waves on an ocean. My life is in flux.
Hi, I'm Vicki Moyle from Bellingham, Washington. I'm practice and education director. 5 words. Steady, vibrating, patient, impatient. I'm always surprised.
And hi, I'm Sally Luxon, the center director here in Bellingham. So grateful for the teachings. Those are my 5 words.
Those are 5. Yep.
Great. Nice to see you all. Just so nice to see you all. It's really heartwarming. Those will probably count toward my 5 words. Loretta Colton, and then just changed on my screen. So we'll start with Loretta, and then Rosario Isabel Cerda. And sorry, I think just before I go, because I think new people just showed up, we're saying our name, where we're from, where we live, what our post is at that center or group, and then 5 words about how you're doing, just for a very brief check-in. Go ahead, Loretta, and then Rosario.
Hi, Loretta Colton. I'm the co-director of the Ottawa Shambhala Center. And my 5 words, holding pattern or holding steady. Thanks.
And Rosario Isabel Cerda. Okay.
I'm Spanish. I'm the coordinator of a small group in Spain, and is the name of the city is Alcoy, and so it's my first time I'm in this meeting.
Do you want to say 5 words, Rosario, about how you are? 5 words about how you are.
So I'm fine. I'm As I said before, my first connection, so I don't have clear the idea what it behaves this. So, but I'm prefer to listen in the people and try to say something more before.
Great. Good job. You're doing good. We can hear you and see you, and great job. Yeah. Okay. So how about Mark and then Mari-Jo Vasquez?
Good morning, Mark Robinson, Davis, California. I am the co-director with Elvia. Elvia was not able to join us today. She's with a program in Berkeley. I am excited and busy. Thank you.
Hello, this is Mari-Jo Vasquez. I'm the coordinator of the Barcelona group. And our 5 words will be, we are hopeful, we are open, we are patient, we are trying to embrace the situation and then searching a way through. That's our situation in the group now. Thank you. I'm happy to be with all of you here.
Great. Thank you. And then Pamela Oropesa, and then Sharon Boyan.
Hello, I'm just joining. My name is Pamela. I'm the center director from Shambhala Cali, Shambhala Center in central Mexico, and Tepoztlan and Cuernavaca. And I don't know what else I have to say. Maybe 5 words regarding our center status, right? Or something like that.
Sure, Pamela, or how you're doing.
Oh.
Also, so it could be 5 words about how you're doing, or 5 words about your center.
Great. Well, I think we're excited. We're just opening 2 new places in a new model as a Shambhala Center. And I think we are excited and exhausted also, but hanging there and with confidence also. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And Sharon?
Hi, I'm Sharon Oyang, the Regional Director of Southern California Shambhala. I live in Los Angeles, but right now I'm driving down to San Diego. Our center is also in Navarro, but doing relatively well, and I'm tired, but still here. Thanks.
Great, thank you. And I also live in Los Angeles, and I am in Los Angeles. I schedule the Thursday night open house talks. That's my rota. And then I have this job as the deputy minister of the Pillar of Government. And I am good, hopeful, curious, Bardo, and curious. Just very curious these days about where we're headed. Which is why I thought this would be a good topic. You know, I just was on a Zoom call with Charlie Getzel, our P&E director for Shambhala, for Global Shambhala. And he and I were talking about who we are and how this question has really been underpinning everything Charlie and I have been doing and everything we think about doing. And I hear it from center leadership as well. You know, who are we and what are we doing and where are we going? And these questions that really, if defined at some point, and I don't know how or when, I have no answers around those big questions, but can really help us, you know, having a reference point about who we are in terms of, you know, what to do with all the other pieces, because we'd actually all be kind of heading in the same direction. But I don't know if that's going to happen soon. So I thought I would host this conversation about what is the function of a Shambhala Center, and what do you hope it should be? What do you think it should be? What is it now? The function of your Shambhala Center? Is it different than it was a year ago? So these are some questions to spark the conversations. And I think it would be a little more intimate if we could break into discussion groups. And I'm seeing 23 on the call. So I think 4 groups would be good. So 3 groups of 6 and 1 group of 5. And John, it could be that you put the 2 people in, you know, because I didn't count that. So there's actually, but the 2 people have to stay in the same discussion group who are sharing the screen. So John's going to put us into discussion groups, and I'll be in one, and I'm happy to be the discussion group leader in that one group. And then maybe you could just, when you get to your groups, elect a leader if it feels like you need one, or a holder. You don't have to call it a leader. You could call it a holder of the discussion. And we'll spend 25 minutes in discussion about this topic. And if somebody could take notes in the Google Doc that John has put in the chat box, that would be great, because when we come back, we'll have that Google Doc to look at, but we could also then talk about what came up in our discussion groups. That's a lot of instruction. Does that sound good? Yeah. Okay.
Cynthia?
Yeah.
Cynthia?
Yeah, Sharon.
Sorry, it's Sharon.
Yeah.
I actually probably have to transition off because we're doing that revenue generation course that starts in a little bit. So with the timing, I probably won't be able to stay. So if John can just take me out of the rotation and not include me, because I have to transition off very shortly anyway. So my apologies.
Okay. Well, nice to hear from you. I'm glad you joined for
nice
a minute.
Yes, and nice to hear all these new names. I was just thinking that from 3 years ago, there's not many people I know who were on these calls from 3 years ago. So it's really nice to hear new people stepping into these roles. So hello, everybody. Hope to meet you some point on the path. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Sharon.
Cynthia, John, this is Mark Robinson in Davis. I'm in the same condition. I need to run off to that other class there too. So unfortunately, so maybe leave me out of the rotation as well. Thank you.
Okay, Mark. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Likewise.
Okay. Everyone else good? All right. So we'll go into 4 breakout rooms, and we'll see you back here in 25 minutes. Hi. Good. All right. So I'll bow to you. I'll bow again. Feels right. Good. And feel free to begin. Whoever would like to, you can stay unmuted if you like, if you want to stay. There's only 5 of us, so whatever works for you. But
I can start. The Denver Center has been dealing with these questions since May strongly, because our center director that was present when all of the shifts and changes started to emerge in Shambhala was naturally at the conclusion of his 3-year appointment this past Harvest of Peace. So his choice was not to continue on, and so we needed to sit as a center and say, okay, who are we and what are we going to do moving forward? So our real strength has come from acknowledging that we really are a place rooted in our Sangha, and as much as the wider mandala supports us and there is connection there, it is our local Denver Sangha and the people who show up weekly that is the attraction to why people come, to the programming choices that we make, and everything that kind of keeps our energy alive. So our efforts and the things that we've been shifting for and doing is really just empowering our local Sangha community and working towards greater transparency. So that looks like a monthly community meeting instead of leadership council and ops team. And basically we have one monthly meeting a month with the whole, anyone who's interested attending, and that provides everyone to kind of see our thought process and decision making go, and everyone is available to just kind of see where they want to fit into the puzzle. In addition to that, we have co-directors and co-administrators. Only the administrators are in a stipend/paid position, and those 4 people communicate weekly to kind of have more tighter reins on the operation.
I just realized I'm not qualified to do the Google Doc note-taking. So anybody but me should do that.
Well, and the nice thing about our situation is I'm recording, so it's still recording.
Yay!
Oh, okay.
So we might get ourselves out of the Google Doc situation. Yeah.
I will go ahead and type just the same.
Oh, okay, Amy, that's great. Yeah, because also one of us will have to report out too when we get back to the other calls. So maybe, Amy, would you like to be the reporter out? Okay, thanks. Okay. So yeah, go ahead. Anybody who'd like to talk about their,
in St. Petersburg, we have a very fresh arising of new people. Every week, there's 2 or 3 or 4 new people. Every month, we have a Learn to Meditate class with 5, 6, 7, 8 new people. And so for the last half year or so, all of these people have been coming in, and they're totally not apparently concerned with all of the uncertainty and trauma that those of us who have gone through this last year are concerned about. And in the interest of transparency, if they come for a class like a level 1, for example, we will normally tell them, why the Sakyong's pictures are not up, and that there are issues that he stepped aside. But honestly, they don't seem to be too concerned about that. What we have is a situation where the new people want to learn how to meditate. They need it for sanity, for personal growth, and they want that. And they really like it, the way it's presented at Shambhala, with the community aspect and the friendliness and so on, openness. So we feel that as far as the who are we and what we should do, we feel that providing a community of sharing people, providing a center where people can learn to meditate and do that with others is our mission. Secondarily is to present Shambhala teachings when the people are ready. So when they're ready, they might do the levels, and then from there do the in everyday life classes and so on. But there's also been a very strong interest in just general Buddhism, Hinayana, Mahayana. And so that's something that we're also attempting to provide at our center. So all this to say is that we feel, if I were to just have another 5 words, and that is that we believe that we need to just keep doing what we're doing.
Okay, I could have a few words. The atmosphere in our group last year was one of only holding space, and a lot of our long-term leadership sort of got burnt out and stayed away. And so in April of this year, we had a situation where nobody wanted to do leadership positions. And we struggled along. And then about 6 months ago, something changed in the world. And we started seeing a few more people. We started having a bit of energy. We finally got a person who could update our website, and so we could send out our newsletters, and it started to look good. We started using our Facebook page, and now we're having the same situation as you did, G. We're having new people coming to learn to meditate, and I think they're coming. They want something spiritual that they're not getting from the organized religions. We're going to offer Shambhala Training Level 1 in 2 weeks. We have to get teachers come from away because we don't have any local teachers. And we're going to offer the first night free, and we're trying to liaise with some of the new people that we've been meeting and encourage them to come and hopefully stay. And so that for that reason, we're getting hopeful. Thanks.
So it's me now. So I think I will share a bit the situation in my center so that you understand what I'm going to say afterwards. In Madrid, we are a small Sangha, and we lost almost half of the membership in the last year and a half. Mostly non-Vajrayana students, but also Vajrayana students and teachers. So basically, we are now like a group of 8 people, staffing programs, directing the center, administration, doing everything. And we try to keep up with the level of number of programs, open days, and everything. But we are almost half of people. So we are, at least speaking for myself, I'm starting to feel very tired. So I was very interested in this call because I feel that in our case, we need to shift and try to think about ourselves, about the Sangha and the people serving the center, and what do we need, instead of looking outside and trying to bring new people. Although we have a lot of new people coming every open day, and every course we do is kind of successful. So, but we don't have the energy to keep up with the rhythm. So we are asking ourselves what to do, because it's kind of scary to just say, okay, we will do less programs and just do more community meetings to look at ourselves and share time with each other. And there is also a feeling of people not wanting to show up, long practitioners that are kind of inactive, paying but not showing up. So yeah, kind of challenging lately, but I'm very motivated as well.
G, you said, you know, offering the Shambhala classes, but then also offering Buddhist classes. What does that look like? And are the rest of you, are your centers doing that as well? Or are you doing only Shambhala classes, or both?
Yeah, it's been a rough going. When all of this stuff happened a year ago, we had several community meetings that they would like, and many people said they wanted just Buddhism. I think they kind of wanted to get away from Shambhala for a while. That's the feeling I got. So the year of deepening of compassion was perfect for that. So we hosted that at our center. And we also at the same time did a midweek Wednesday evening class based on the Profound Treasury, Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, very basic Buddhist teachings, pre-Shambhala Dharma. But you know that people didn't come. We had very few people. Even now, with the year of deepening of compassion, the last couple of weeks where we had John Rockwell and before that Galen Ferguson, we had very few people. And so our leadership, our consul, our practice in education, myself, were a little bit confused because people are saying they want Buddhism, but when we gave it, they didn't come. So I think what we're going to do though is to continue to do some form of general Mahayana, in Hinayana Mahayana, always from a view of the Vajrayana, the Shambhala view, I think is always going to be there. And then we'll still have our in everyday life classes. And I want to tell you why I think that's important to me. I don't know how you feel about it. But there was a feeling of ditching the Shambhala brand and the teachings of Shambhala and let's just be Buddhists. And my opinion only, that's not who we are. We are a Shambhala center. We have a unique Theravada, a unique lineage, and a unique set of teachings. And I believe that we should offer that because they're not going to get that if they go to a mindfulness community center or a Theravada or some other, you know what I mean? So I believe, and I'm interested to hear your feedback, but I believe we need to continue the Shambhala curriculum. We don't know what we're going to do for the Vajrayana students. That's a whole other matter. But for the majority of the people coming in and coming up, the levels 1 through 5, the IEA in everyday life classes and so on, they're so rich. So I feel like we should do that.
That's similar to where we are in Denver. You know, the Way of Shambhala and the Everyday Life series is kind of the heart of what we can offer, and it's so accessible that we are committed to that here in Denver. I know maybe it was 2 calls ago, Davis was, UC Davis Center was talking about they were trying to remarket or rebrand. So I know Lori and myself were interested on what that meant. Like, what does that look like? So there's been conversations here in Denver, just in general amongst the community, acknowledging the fact that, you know, when Chogyam Trungpa came to the West, he was taking the Buddhist teachings and repackaging them so that they met the current culture. Our culture today is different than it was back in the 60s and 70s. So what does need to be done for the teachings so that they can be communicated? But the teachings themselves are just great and still rooted. So that's where we've been discussing. We equally struggle with what to do next for our Vajrayana students, but we have a connection here in Denver to people who have taken Kura retreat, I might be saying that word wrong, and training. And so I know that has been something amongst the cadre of Vajrayana students themselves that they've been organizing around. So they've kind of been, because I don't fall in that category, they've been kind of organizing opportunities for themselves.
Just wanted to share regarding the Buddhist courses that G was talking about before. We also decided to continue offering the Way of Shambhala weekends, but also we have an acharya in Madrid, and him with the former sastri of the center developed a kind of Hinayana and Mahayana curriculum So the plan is offering the courses, first the Hinayana courses and then the Mahayana courses. So it would be like 2 years, but probably it will be more. We don't know if we will get until the end, but we will start probably next year offering the first weekend. And I think for the Sangha members, it's kind of exciting. At least for me, it is, because when I arrived in Shambhala, it was only 5 years ago, and I didn't have Buddhist courses per se. But I don't know to new students how it will work, but we will see. So it will not be like substitution or the way of Shambhala, but just like a parallel thing that will happen if it works.
And this year we offered 2 courses that were from the Pema Chodron, the online videos, the Making Friends with Yourself, and the other one that was about the Bardo. And that's where we found that there was a lot of new people who didn't want to be Shambhalians, but they were very interested in learning what she had to say and found it very accessible.
Carol, you're in St. John, right? Newfoundland.
St. John's.
St. John's, Newfoundland.
Yes.
Okay. There's a St. John, New Brunswick.
Right.
Okay. Great. Yeah, I remember years ago when the EL courses first came out, well, whenever that was, 5 or 6 years ago. And, there's always been this call for Buddhism. And so we had moved over to the EL courses, but someone asked, they wanted me to teach a 12 Nidanas, I think it was, or Karma and the 12 Nidanas, it was called, something like that. And so I agreed to, and, we were really thinking, well, where are we going to put the SSBS courses in with the new one? And so I agreed to, and I had also, like 2 months later, I had agreed, I was scheduled to teach a contentment in everyday life. And so the Karma and the 12 Nidanas, about, everyone was saying, we want more Buddhism. And about 6 people came. And then the contentment in everyday life course, there were like 32 people there. And it was really interesting because we did the same marketing, the same teacher, the same space, the same everything. But there was something about people really wanting to be content in their everyday life and not quite understanding what Karma and the 12 Nidanas are. Or is it just because that's who we are, is offering these Shambhala teachings? I don't know. I've thought about it ever since, though, and really been thinking about it since this is all happening, and people are kind of trying to figure out what to offer, who to be. Do you think the function of your Shambhala Center is just to offer programs?
No. I don't think that, no.
No.
I think it's a space where people who are searching, people who recognize they're in pain and want an answer, can come to a place and they can get a consistent type of, introduction to meditation, and then the welcome to come back if they want to.
I agree. We have a very important thing we haven't talked about yet, that is a community lunch. So every Sunday after our open sitting, we do a lunch. So one of our members will volunteer to make the lunch, and it's really well attended. And so the purpose of our community is also to provide community, to provide a place where people could sit and talk. 3 or 4 weeks ago, we had one of our members do a stand-up comedy routine during the lunch. And then we also found out that one of our new members is a physical therapist, and he's getting a doctorate, and he's a practitioner, and he's certified in the McKinsey method of healing your back. I don't know if you know about that, but it's world famous. And those of us of a certain age, we all have back issues. And those of us that are young need to do things to prevent the back issues. So we're having a mindful back class next month. So I think there's a lot of different things that we bring. We want to have an arts event, maybe middle of next year. There's a lot of interest in art. We don't have enough Dharma art teachers. so we haven't really done it. But anyway, so yeah, I think it's kind of diverse.
I would like to ask something to the rest of. So, what are you doing, or what is happening in your center regarding, like, kind of taking care of the community members through these times? Is there anything still in place, or because in our center it kind of stopped happening since some months, and I would like to know how you're doing with that.
I don't know that we have something that you could just take and utilize, Claudia, since I heard you guys are down to 8 members. But on the part of Denver really trying to empower the community that is still showing up, the people who haven't previously been in leadership, just these are the people who come and sit and practice or really hold value in our center. We've created what we're calling Sunday teams. And so these aren't people who held leadership positions before, but we've invited them all to kind of collect and make smaller communities within our larger Sangha. And so they've labeled themselves as the 4 dignities. And so the first Sunday, there's a team of tigers who come in and they make sure the shrine is open and get the center just kind of ready. And then the second Sunday, the lions come. And not everyone is always available every month. And so the different groups do kind of tag off onto each other. And so, a tiger is here this weekend helping the lion group because of illness and some different things. But at the heart of it, there's a nice cadre of 4 and 5 people who come that Sunday, the second Sunday every month, and they're going to hold that space for each other. And that's just something we've started 6 weeks now, and it changed the whole energy of our whole center, and everyone just feels more connected and just really energized to come. And everyone knows that, like, even if it's just something small, there's a place, versus we were starting to get stretched out where there were like 5 people who held the burden of everything that we were going to do. And now every Sunday there's a different pile of name tags for 5 different people who are going to hold that rather than the same 5 over and over. So an inspiration, but I don't know what your center looks like as far as maybe catalyzing some community members, but we've started to energize community members to come together.
I have a recommendation. For years, we struggled with that very small group of people doing everything and burning out and so on. And then we did something, I don't know, a couple of years ago that really helped. And I didn't even think about it until now, but we're paying a member, $300 a month just to clean the center, make sure there's toilet paper for the weekends, make sure that we have supplies, we have these dishes of candies, other things that she looks after, so that nobody else has to worry about that stuff. It's just kind of taken care of. And it seems kind of like not a lot, but it really is a lot, because otherwise everybody gets stressed out over who's doing what, and you know what I mean? So just taking care of those things. I love the idea of the tiger groups and lion groups, because I've been trying to think, how could we energize the volunteers? In our center, we don't have a lot of senior people that can take positions like the Director of Societal Health and Well-being, or Communications, Culture and Decorum. We're really lacking in that area. But we have a lot of people that are new that want to volunteer. So I'm looking for ways that we can use that energy. If you have any other ideas, and I'd like to hear it.
That's amazing, Amy. I love it. And do they have to be members, or could it be like anyone who, if somebody comes to sit for a few Sundays and feels connected, could they be one of these dignities?
Yeah. Definitely there's a leader of each Sunday's group. So the leader is a member and someone who's a little bit more rooted and connected, but then every group is trying to sign up 4 and 5 people for their Sunday. And so that's open to whoever is there. And so we started the invitation at Harvest of Peace, and the sign-up sheets are actually still hanging in our hallway. So it's still available that people could scribble their name as they go. But just the energy of what's going on has been huge. So I know some new people have gotten kind of swept up on board just because they're noticing the energy, and then they're talking to someone, and then someone from that team has invited them. It's like, well, come, be with us. It's not an immediate like formal connection, but just this welcome opening of, yeah, come be with us as we set this community. And then I'm assuming it'll grow, and maybe they'll make it more formal with those very new people. But just having more than one person who's holding that community and connection on that Sunday provides this opportunity where someone's like, yeah, I can come and be part of your cadre here. And that feels really good. So.
I know we're going to be swept back. Oh, okay. We have 3 minutes to wrap up. Okay. Great.
One of the questions that you said was, how do we figure all of this out? I think this is a very good forum to do that. And I think recently I went to an Atlantic Regional Conference, and one of the things that was said was, so we have a board, but essentially we're kind of free to try out things and see what works and what doesn't work, and then report back.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, and I love this also of the back program and the arts programs, and that we as leadership, we're creating enlightened society, right? And society means all of society. So it's the artists and the bankers and certainly we have our church, but we could also invite the back specialists and the nutritionist and the farmer and the I met with Hans Henning the other day, and he was picking olives. He's in the regional coordinator for Spain. So we have the olive pickers and that can bring a lot into our society and tell us all about olive picking and how to have a healthy back. And I just love that. Okay, 1 more minute. It's kind of like, when are we going to all go?
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, sorry you're sick, Claudia. Okay, well, we'll bow out to each other because I think we're going to be swept back. Thank you all. Oh, and Amy, you're going to report out for us. Okay. I'm finding out if we're supposed to do something or if we just, oh no, okay. Okay. All right. Good job, John. Tech wizard. Okay, I think everyone is back. So I hope we had a great conversation. I hope you had a good conversation. So did each group select someone to report back? Yeah. Okay. No. Uh-oh. Okay. Well, you can now select someone. Did we have breakout room numbers, John? Like 1, 2, 3, 4? Okay. And I'm not hearing John for some reason, but you hear me, right? Okay. I don't hear you, John. Do you hear John? John, what's that thing with Zoom that I have to do to get my audio back? Here, I'll do it this other way. Sorry. Hello?
Yes, just give me 1 second to get back to the notes. Where were they?
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay. Sorry, I'm having. I think I closed the Google Docs, and so I just need to open it again. I've lost it.
I can provide the link to it, Loretta.
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Okay.
So we had a great discussion, and to try and summarize it without taking too long, a couple of themes that everyone mentioned. Okay, was what it means to be a Shambhalian teaching in a Shambhala context, as opposed to teaching a sort of providing a simpler secular mindfulness meditation kind of approach, and that being a challenge. The distinction divide between Vajrayana students who have taken Samaya and have a commitment to a guru has a different impact for as opposed to students who are on the path but haven't taken that step yet, and so don't feel particularly attached or loyal to the Sakyong. And so when these allegations all came out, they were they're quite comfortable with the idea of these are teachings we can, we can offer these teachings without the sakyong, basically. We don't have to go down that path, and attempting to integrate those two views to figure out who we are as a Shambhala center or group is really challenging. We talked about feeling like Lungta is kind of leaking, I think was the way one of our participants put it, that there's a lack of energy. People are tired of talking about the situation. But there's a real feeling of the challenge of how do we get back our energy, our sense of vigor and motivation and lungta about providing these teachings. We also talked about the conversation that has been happening in some places about the idea of Shambhala, the idea of enlightened society, and that as Shambhala centers, we are trying to save the world. And then that creates a kind of, and if you couple it with the idea that we're the only ones who know how to do that, to save the world through these teachings of enlightened society, and on the Vajrayana side, of course, that kind of could get amplified, and a discussion about how that can create, some of us expressed the view that they didn't connect with that it wasn't what enlightened society was originally supposed to mean, and that it's about enlightened society in the sense of practical relationship, our own communities, and that there was a discomfort with and that it was good to be having a conversation about what does that mean, and are we actually trying to save the world in that big sense. Also talked about, as a center being challenged now in the sort of, Bardo situation that we're in, about knowing what to accept and what to reject in terms of what we offer as teachings. Do we bring in, what the question being, for example, bringing in teachers from other traditions? And then the other, I think I'll leave this as my last point, is that a couple of our members had in their community had a gathering of various, I think it was all other Buddhist traditions within that city. And it was very heartening to realize that all of those traditions are facing very similar challenges. And we're all having the same questions, and that it was good to connect with those other traditions in that way and have that conversation with them. I know I left out stuff, but I'll leave it at that. And yeah.
Great, thank you. And that must have been group 1?
That was group 2.
That was group 2. How about group 1? Who'd like to report for group 1?
I suppose I can report. I took the notes. Yeah, they're fairly superficial impressions of what each person said, identifying them by where they're from and not by name. One impression I got was each center or group's experience is a bit different. There isn't one common overarching thread. A couple are more were questioning how have we lost our lunta? How do we relate to the teachings? When we offer them to new people, do we even believe what we're saying? There were questions on, one of the questions our group facilitator gave us at the beginning, Joan, was to ask the questions that Cynthia and John raised, but what's changed in the last year? And so for some groups, not much. They're still doing things the same way. There may be declines in enrollment. There may be relating to newcomers differently than in the past. One group is using kindness circles. They got the rollout of Susan Chapman's kindness, son of Sakyong's son of kindness rolled out by Susan Chapman, and relating to one another in that kind of way. Some centers are magnetizing new people, some are not. One center from Spain, I think it was Barcelona, said something that was really interesting. Like there's a new dynamic going on with new people. They come for 1 or 2 days and do a few things and then disappear. Is that the new community that we serve? And I'll say that's the same for Lexington too, except one of our outreach programs meets every Saturday, and we'll get some new people pop in, and then I won't see them for 6 months, but then they'll come back. And so I think there is something to that there's a community out there who are not official Shambhala Sangha, but they do come and go and come and go. So that was also a recurring theme. I can just share with something I said to a few of our people who, in our own center, who are, if the teacher's flawed, what about the teachings? And without getting too Vajrayana Dharmic-y in jargon, I would say that the teachers tap into absolute reality, and so do we as individuals. We get tiny glimpses, they get bigger glimpses and right sadhanas and stuff. If what we experience what they taught us as coming from absolute reality, then that's not from their flawed day-to-day existence, and we can separate those two things.
Okay, thank you, Craig. Thanks a lot for that. So that was 1 and 2. Who would like to report for group number 3? Hi, Lisa, welcome. Were you able to be in a discussion group, or did you just, okay. We broke off into breakout groups, and then we're coming back now and saying what happened in our breakout groups, okay. So number 3, who would like to do that?
I'm willing to do that. I wasn't the note taker, but I did take some notes. So I'll give my impressions. Some of the key words that came up were, and keywords and questions, who are we as individuals and as centers? How varied and how many multiple levels we have of experience, and the friendliness that we extend to others who come into our centers, being wanting to give the gift of what we got when we walked through the doors of a Shambhala center, and that people aren't looking for our trouble, so we don't need to think that we have a duty to talk about our trouble, that we have a responsibility to work with it, but not necessarily to introduce that into our atmospheres. One center shared about shifting from sustaining a Shambhala center and all the money and energy that took to sustaining and feeding a community, and that was a big shift, and that they had been running as a school, but now feel that they're working together as a community. The question of how do we organize ourselves, so not just what happens with the Sakyong and how does Shambhala Global organize itself, but how do we organize ourselves in ways that allow us to feel like we are in community, and how our individual practice can sometimes take us away from putting energy into our communities, and that this is an opportunity for us to examine that and to do things differently. Also, the view that it's a time for us to open up and become more porous. Porous would be my word, by inviting other teachers, by consciously not being siloed, to be cautious about Shambhala pride and arrogance, that we are special, that we know the way and have the answers. Not to market ourselves, but to be present, fully present for our current members and people who are hurting and need support, and to be present when people come through our doors seeking what we have to offer.
Great. Thank you, Karen. And then Amy was going to report for group 4.
So group 4 had some similar things to each of the groups that have shared so far. So I'll try and be very short. The notes are in the document that John made. But there was a similar thread of really attracting lots and lots of new people who, again, aren't wanting to get embroiled in what happened over the last 18 months and things like that, but still attracted to come in and be provided meditation instruction. To having fewer and fewer people around the centers who can staff and organize the offering of such instruction, and how to mediate in the middle to energize these new people to help create a community that can make offerings, and also, you know, they're new, they just arrived. So how do we maintain kind of the Shambhala lens on that? Lots of talks of openings, so kind of accessing the community for their wealth of resources too. So as in sustaining the community, what other offerings are possible, and utilizing the expertise of the community members. So St. Pete has a back program, mindful back programming coming next month, because one of their members has expertise in that, and then that can just support the community and what we're doing. So just different ways of looking. But we did have a new kind of question emerge after we were talking for a long way. Is our function just to offer programs? And universally amongst our group, we said no. It's a place where they can get consistent meditation instruction and feel welcome to come back. So really a touchstone to that community place. And I loved how Karen just shared it, this idea between sustaining a center versus sustaining a community. And I think that's what our group was really rooted in as well.
Amy, I'm going to ask you also to just really briefly explain your 4 Dignities Sundays, because I hear from so many directors and leadership that you know, there aren't enough people, and that there's a small group of people doing a lot of things. So this that you've come up with is really speaks to it, and so brilliantly. So if you don't mind sharing that more widely.
Yes, I can share that quickly. Thank you for calling it out. I don't like to toot my own horn, so wouldn't have shared it otherwise. In Denver for about 6 weeks now, from Harvest of Peace, we have offered Sunday morning teams. So in our transition and how Denver is operating at Harvest of Peace, we invited the community to sign up to become a smaller Sangha for a particular Sunday. So for instance, the first Sunday of every month is staffed by the Tiger team. And the head of the Tiger team is a member, someone who's been rooted in the community around. So that's the consistency, the connection. But the other 4 to 5 slots on the Tiger team is open to anyone who is so motivated. So it could be the first or second Sunday someone's coming in to sit or has attended an open house and really feels attracted to the center. They could actually join one of these Sunday teams. And over the last 6 weeks, we've really changed the Sunday morning energy of our center. There's a team and a group of people who come in and make sure the shrine is open and the doors are unlocked and the flags are set out. And they work together as this smaller cadre in addition to just all the people who come through the doors to sit. So that has just magnetized it's completely night and day from 6 months ago, where one person would be signed up as the Umze for Sunday morning sit, would come in, have to open the doors and do every task, and would be the only one at the center for like an hour and a half before sitting started. Maybe people would come in and sit. We'd have this explosion of people sitting in the center part of our open sitting offering, but no one was really there at the opening, and people would exit themselves before the close, and then all the cleaning would be left to the same person or possibly tagged to one other volunteer. And now there's a cadre of 4 to 5 people who are coming to kind of set up everything. We end our sitting a half hour early, and we have what we're calling community, and the center has just been burgeoning with people who stay through the sitting, sit and enjoy each other and chat. And then the cleaning kind of just becomes this link to energy where people are like, they see something needs to be done and it doesn't feel like a burden. And so everyone's helping, and then we're very quickly cleaned up and go. So it's been a shift. I tried to be more detailed in the notes in the document, but please feel free to reach out to the Denver Center, and myself or Lori can help explain it further as well.
Great. Well, thanks. And just because I was in this group, I'm sure a lot of you are doing wonderful things, but G also talked about a community lunch that they have every Sunday that's very well attended. So I know people have to start dropping off. So I will, I'd love if we could just do a 1-word checkout, just 1 word, and then I'll send you all the link to this once I post it on YouTube like I did before, so for the recording. And some of you haven't been on before, but I write to each one of you, like I bring us all together on one email, and that way you all have each other's email addresses if you want to reach out to each other, okay? And then November 20th is the next call, and we'll probably send a reminder about that. So just a 1-word checkout, and we'll start with Vicki and Sally, and then go to Mark Douglas.
Connected. Friendly.
Grateful.
Achim, and then Loretta. Oh no, you're muted, Achim.
Thanks.
Encouraging.
Amy, and then Claudia.
Energized.
Relaxed.
G, and then Carol.
Stay strong, everyone.
Connected.
John, and then Joan.
I've unmuted everybody, so you don't have to, whoops. So you don't have to worry about that, but it hasn't worked. So we're learning how to do this.
John, what's your 1-word checkout?
Learning.
Gratitude.
Tim, and then Craig. Tim and Sally.
Sure. Interesting is what I'd say. Very interesting.
Feeling.
I already said what I said.
Sally, what did you say?
I think I said encouraging before. I already said something, but.
Perfect. Sorry, Craig. Keith.
Appreciative.
Karen and then John.
Enriched.
Heart.
Rosario. Thanks, John. Rosario and Pamela.
So grateful and also energized.
Confidence.
And Lisa.
Late but appreciative.
And I am happy. So thank you all. I'm gonna do the dedication, and then we can try to do it together, all unmuted, but we'll see how that goes. It gets a little. No, we're not going to try it. So John, can you remute everyone? I'll stay unmuted and I'll do it, and then we'll bow to each other. By the confidence of the golden sun of the great east, may the lotus garden of the Rigdon's wisdom bloom. May the dark ignorance of sentient beings be dispelled. May all beings enjoy profound, brilliant glory. Thank you all so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Enjoy your Sunday.
Really
Thank
great.
you, Greta.
Thank you.
And thanks, Cynthia.
Thank you, Cynthia.